decision of my life, probably one of the biggest decisions I'm gonna make. But I just let my agent to focus on that, and I'm gonna focus in like getting ready in Saturday to play the first preseason game.
He's not focused on it, Jalen. He's not focused on the contract. He lets his agent deal with that. What do you read into these comments from the MVP?
Well, Giannis is a professional. He deserved to be the back-to-back MVP for the regular season. However, once his team got to the postseason, Jacoby, they haven't met expectations. And he said a couple of things as somebody that's negotiated a lot of contracts in multimedia and as a player that should be alarming for Milwaukee Bucks fans. One is, I'm not thinking about that right now. Let me tell everybody something. If you have $200+ million on the table at any point of your life, you're thinking about it. Yeah, you're thinking about it. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care how good you are at basketball. That's $250 million. You're thinking about it. The other thing is talk to my agent. Like that one right there, that's like almost like talk to the hand. In other words, we're going to get out here and play basketball this year. We're going to see if we go farther than we did last year. If we don't go farther than we did last year, unfortunately for me and my fandom, he's going to fall into the category of notable, great, all-star, current NBA players that have switched teams over the last couple of years, Jacoby.
Well, here's the thing, Jalen. There's no reason for Giannis to sign that deal. Now, you discussed this. Now, this is something that bothers you. Why does it bother you that these big players switch teams?
Well, all situations aren't created equal. Kyrie Irving was trying to find a home. When he left Cleveland, he left Boston, and he landed with KD with the Nets. Russell Westbrook was an MVP a handful of years ago, Jacoby. He's going to be on his third team in 3 years. Paul George wanted to return to Cali to team up with Kawhi Leonard. And Jimmy Butler was looking for happiness. That's all he didn't get it in Chicago, didn't get it in Minnesota, didn't get it in Philly. He found it in Miami. But Jacoby, what changes the landscape of the NBA is when you have MVP level players, champions, finals MVPs, superstars changing teams. That really affects the dynamics of the league. Ask Oklahoma City. Remember we used to talk about them? We don't talk about them no more. You know why? They don't have Russ, they don't have KD, and they don't have Harden. That's just how this game works. And so when you look at that list, that's probably 10 or 11 of the top 20 players in the entire NBA that have changed teams over the last couple of years. Anthony Davis realized that he wasn't going to get it done with the Pelicans, so he let them know that, hey, I want to go to LA and team up with LeBron. And Kevin Durant, he left the Splash Brothers to go to the Nets. And we know LeBron is the person as a superstar in the modern era that actually ushered that into today's game, that shows the player that you don't have to necessarily be loyal to one teammate, team, or franchise. You can kind of get your money on and off the floor, top dollar, plus go to a market you really want to play in and hope to win a ring.
And I see absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, you love Dame Lillard's loyalty to Portland. Like, you love it that he wants to stay there his whole career. And you want Giannis to do the same. You want Giannis to sign right now and commit to 6 years of being in Milwaukee. But you mentioned something that's very important. Happiness. What if Giannis is unhappy with his teammates and his situation and his roster? And what if Giannis is frustrated by losing and not getting over the hump? What if he doesn't like the way that Coach Bud sets up his defense and it's very effective for the regular season, maybe not so much for the postseason? If he's unhappy, why should he stay loyal? Why should he stay if he's not happy? And there's no reason for him to sign an extension right now. That exact same contract, the exact same contract is available to him after this season. So why wouldn't he play this season, see how it goes, see how Drew Holiday and some of the new pieces fit, and then make his decision later? And if he's not happy with the way that they're going, go ahead and switch teams. It's not even about ring chasing. It's about happiness chasing. What is wrong with trying to be happy?
Jacoby, let me give you a few examples I saw in NBA history, and I played against a few of these guys. I remember when Kobe and Shaq started their three-peat. Each of those guys enjoyed the championships they won without one another more than the ones that they did together. Kevin Durant just left the Golden State Warriors and the Splash Brothers, Jacoby. That's so he can try to win with the Nets, and he's going to value that more. These all-time great players are just wired different. They're not built like the rest of us, Jacoby. And so the reason why I hope Luka stays with Dallas and Trae Young stays with Atlanta, and I'm glad that Steph is renegotiating with the Warriors, and I hope they get that done. Same with Dame Lillard, is because I want to have a remote control in my hand and actually see great players spread out throughout the NBA. Not only talk about 4 or 5 teams because 8 or 9 of those players play on those squads. Like, we're going into next season. The ESPN list just came out about who they think are the top players in the league. They had LeBron James and Anthony Davis 1, 2. At the park, those will be the 2 guys picking teams, right? But now they're playing with each other.
Facts.
That's all
I don't
saying.
mind it at all. I don't mind it at all. And if Giannis called my phone, I would say, don't sign that extension. And if he wasn't happy with the way the Bucks were going, he should go to Dallas and play with Luka. He should. It's not about ring chasing, it's about happiness chasing. If that'll make him happy to go down there and play with Luka, then go do that. You don't have to stay in Milwaukee just because they drafted you. You don't have to stay there just because they drafted you. If you're unhappy and you've fallen short of your expectations and the team's expectations, go ahead to a different team. Do what makes you happy. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
So let me ask you this. Based on that theory, are you telling me that Anthony Davis would never have won a championship with the Pelicans? Or that Giannis won't ever win a championship with the Bucks? Because you know what, I'm old enough to remember when people thought Dirk would never win one with the Mavs. And he did. And his legacy is cemented. They're going to name a street after him. He's going to get a statue. Okay, so that ring is going to be just as special to him as KD's 2 with the Golden State Warriors. Trust me, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm glad you brought up KD because there's some news about KD, but news to everybody that doesn't watch J&J. For J&J watchers, it's broken news.
To everyone else, it's breaking news. To Jalen and Jacoby listeners, it's broken news.
You've been saying this ever since he signed with Brooklyn, and KD said it himself that the coach is going to use him in a variety of ways, including small ball 5. How do you think that impacts what they want to do offensively and defensively?
How basketball is played in the East is way different than it's played in the West. In the West, most of the elite players are still big guys. Other than Dame Lillard and Luka and Steph Curry, you still got LeBron, AD, Jokic, or whatever. When you look at the Eastern Conference, the best bigs, Embiid, Bam Adebayo, Vucevic, that's only 3 teams. So on a nightly basis, 6'11" Kevin Durant is going to have an advantage playing the 5 in that conference because most of the teams ain't going to have a player that can even punish him and punish them for doing so. And also, I know the cast of characters involved. Remember, I played for Mike D'Antoni with Steve Nash and with their GM, Sean Marks. And I know that they want to play fast. And in order to do that, you have to have multiple guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot. And a 6'11" guy can't be the 3 like he was in OKC in the Western Conference. He can be the 4. He can be the 5 because, again, in the East, there aren't many 4s and or 5s that's going to take advantage of his slight of build playing that position.
And if you do run into one of those centers you mentioned, those bigs like Bam Adebayo and Embiid, you've got Jared Allen. Jared Allen is an underrated player. I love the way Jared Allen plays. He plays great defense, and you have him for those instances in which you don't want to put Kevin Durant at the 5. Jalen, your Michigan Wolverines have had a dumpster fire of a football season, but the implications on an actually good team are that Ohio State was supposed to get 6 wins minimum to get into the Big Ten championship. They have changed the rules in order to put Ohio State in, even though they have only played 5 games. I support this decision. Let's have the best teams in the championship. What do you think about them adjusting the rules mid-season to put Ohio State in the championship?
Here's the thing. If you're a member of a Big 5 conference, the only reason you want to return during COVID and without fans is to propel the teams in your conference. So if you're the Big Ten, you wanted this season